All right, this is part 2 of Unit 2A. We are looking at unit conversions, sometimes known as unit analysis. And again, when we're talking about units, we're talking about feet, inches, miles, gallons, whatever we need to use to describe the quantity or count of something we're working with. So in the last example, we looked at the speed of light, and what we're going to do now is we're going to look more in depth at this idea of unit conversions, because we converted years into seconds, but sometimes we'll be converting from one unit to another, such as going from miles to kilometer or quarts to cups, and we need to come up with a strategy so that we're able to do this for any unit that we want to convert. And the big idea here is, so say for example we wanted to, this example says let's convert 2 feet into inches. Okay, well hopefully in your mind you say, well 2 feet, there's 12 inches per foot, so 2 times 12 is 24, so it's 24 inches. And let's see how this actually works out mathematically when we kind of look into the nuts and bolts of things. So what we do is we take our 2 feet and we need to times it by a fraction that is equivalent to 1. And sometimes this is called a unit fraction. And that unit fraction would be 12 inches in every 1 foot. So I'm going to write this out a little bit bigger. So we take 2 feet, we times it by 12 inches for every 1 foot. And then notice that the units, so technically this is like 2 over 1 here when we look at the fractions. So the feet cancel, and the unit I'm left with here is inches. And so then I just multiply my numerators together, so 2 times 12 is 24. My denominators, 1 times 1, which is 1, and I'm left with 24 inches. So that's the basic idea of unit conversions. And so, some of the unit conversions you can look at, like 1 week is 7 days. That is a unit fraction. 12 inches is 1 foot. And we can actually use the reciprocals of these two. We can say that 1 foot is 12 inches. It's okay if we flip those. It depends on the problem we're working with. And essentially what we want to do is we want to keep whatever unit we're trying to cancel out needs to go into our denominator, and whatever unit we're trying to keep stays in our numerator. And I'll show you several examples of that as we go through. Again, there's so many different names. This book calls it the conversion factor, and you can write it several different ways. So when we look at the 12 inches equals 1 foot, you can say 12 inches equals 1 foot, or 12 inches over 1 foot is equal to 1, or 1 foot over 12 inches equals 1. There's 3 different ways to represent the same idea. And we're going to be using, mainly, we're going to be using these ideas right here to do some conversions. It just depends on what we are trying to convert to. So let's go back to our problem where we had the speed of light in kilometers, and let's convert from kilometers to miles. So we had 9,460,000,000,000 kilometers was the speed of light. Or not speed of light, excuse me, 1 light year. So I had a typo there. Convert. This should say light year. My bad on that. And so what we want to do is we want to convert from kilometers to miles. So here's how we're going to do it. And I give you the conversion here. 1.609 kilometers is approximately 1 mile. And so we could either say for our conversion factors. 1 mile is 1.609 kilometers, or you could say 1.609 kilometers is 1 mile. Either way, those are both equivalent to 1. And the question here is which conversion factor are we going to use? Or which fraction are we going to use? And the idea is we are trying to go from kilometers to miles, and so I want to cancel out the kilometers and keep the miles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply by 1 mile, because I want to keep the mile, so that's going to stay in the numerator, and I want to cancel the kilometers. So I'm going to use the 1 mile over 1.609 kilometers, because then again, what's going to happen is the kilometers are going to cancel, and this is going to be equal to 9,460,000,000,000 miles over 1.609. And again, the kilometers have divided out. So now when I take 9,460,000,000,000 and divide it by 1.609, I get roughly, and this is rounded, I roughly get 5 billion or 5,880,000,000 miles. Okay, and so that's the conversion in light years from kilometers over to miles. So again, you want to identify what variable or what unit you want to keep, and then you want to cancel out using these fractions here. You want to cancel out the unit that you're converting from. So we're converting from kilometers to miles, so I want to cancel out kilometers, so forth. So let's look at several more examples here. Okay, we want to look at how much does a typical waterbed weigh, and here's some useful data. We know that 1 cubic foot of water weighs 64.2 pounds, so this means that 1 cubic foot or foot cubed of water is 64.2 pounds. Okay, from that we can get the idea that we can get our conversion fractions, or 1 cubic foot over 64.2 pounds, or 64.2 pounds over 1 cubic foot. And again, this is specific to water. And we want to now figure out the weight. So we want to know how much does this thing weigh. So in the end, we're going to be looking for a weight, so we want pounds in the end. And we know that this particular waterbed holds 28 cubic feet of water. So we want to now convert. So we have 28 cubic feet of water are in the bed, and I want to cancel out the cubic feet and have pounds in the end, so I'm going to use this conversion factor, this conversion fraction right here, because that will put, so I'm going to times it by 64.2 pounds over 1 cubic foot, because then, again, that's going to cancel cubic feet and leave me with just pounds. So now we get 28 times 64.2 pounds. And when you take 28 times it by 64.2, you roughly get 1,797.6 pounds. Okay, so a bed that holds 28 cubic feet of water is going to weigh almost 1,800 pounds. So now let's look at another example we have here. So we have how many buses are needed to transport 495 people if each bus holds 45 people. So again, we're looking here that one bus can carry 45 people. So again, we're going to have one bus per 45 people. for one fraction, or we're going to have 45 people for every one bus. And we have to determine which one we're going to need to use. So we're transporting 495 people. And again, the end question is how many buses do we need? So we're going to take that, times it by, and I want to cancel out people, so I'm going to be using this conversion factor. One bus, 45 people. Okay, people are going to cancel, so I'm going to have 495 times 1 buses over 45. And now I just need to take 495 divided by 45, and that will give us 11 buses. Okay, and so that's this idea of unit conversion or unit analysis. Okay, I've got a couple more for us here, and then we're going to look at what happens when we raise things to powers and that'll be on our third video. Okay, next one, we got a hose fills up a hot tub at a rate of 4.5 gallons per minute. Now when you see per, that's usually, so that word right there is usually meaning division. That says division, I promise. So that's going to be 4.5 gallons for every 1 minute. Or 1 minute gives us 4.5 gallons. So we want to know how many minutes. So again, in the end result, we want minutes. So how many minutes will it take to fill a 400-gallon hot tub? So we've got a 400-gallon hot tub. And what we're going to do is we're going to see, determine what conversion factor we need to use. Well, we want to cancel out the gallons, so we're going to be using this fraction here. Oops, not equals. So 400 gallons times 1 minute for every 4.5 gallons. And again, gallons are going to cancel, so we get 400 minutes divided by 4.5. And this comes out to roughly 88.9. I think it's 88.8 repeated, but we'll round it up. 88.9 minutes. So that's how long it will take to fill up the hot tub at that given rate, 4.5 gallons per minute. Okay, lastly, how much would you pay for 2.5 ounces of gold at a price of $1,200 per ounce? So again, it's $1,200 for every 1 ounce, or 1 ounce is $1,200. That says dollars. So we're starting with 2.5 ounces, and we want to know how much would you pay. So in the end, we want dollars. So we're going to times this by, and I want to cancel out the ounces. So this is going to be this first fraction here. $1,200 for every 1 ounce. So now we just multiply. The ounces are going to cancel. 2.5 times 1,200 is 3,000. And then our units, dollars. Okay, so that is looking at unit analysis and converting units, and it all dependent upon the question that you're asked. But hopefully those fractions that we have been talking about, these conversions here, hopefully this idea makes sense because it's a critical element. So I'm going to pause the video here, and we'll pick it up in part 3 to finish off Unit 2A.